What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? It is Thursday, May 9th, 11 a.m. in Miami, 10 a.m. in Indianapolis, 9 a.m. here in Costa Rica, 8 a.m. in San Diego, California. You're watching Betting with the Bag. Thank you for joining us. Feels like everybody was eating yesterday. Now, the Celtics, Kyrie Irving, bad decision on my part. Took a little money out of my pocket. I hedged with the Avalanche. You know, it was for peace of mind, and peace of mind costs you money. You know, I got my eyes fixed. I got no insurance. I didn't need peace of mind. If anything went wrong, I was screwed. Who cares? But gambling, I needed peace of mind. Whatever. That cost me a little bit of money. Kevin Durant goes down. Enormous implications. How hurt is he? Certainly won't see him in Game 6. Those of us holding Rockets tickets, we should be good, but crazier things happened. Rockets did cover last night, but they should have won outright. Chris Paul did not step up when we needed him. Let's see how that handles itself, how that works itself out. But baseball, we were all eating. We were eating good. And if I ever said that before, I don't know if I've ever said that before. So that feels good. Shout out to all the low baggers in the chat. We got Scott Feinstein, Joe Rich Ramirez. We got Matt Randall. Matt, I was thinking about you when Jose Ramirez hit that walk-off. Jose Ramirez heating up. Matt Randall, playing now 22-7-1. My God. We got Jansen set up my 4 MLB plays, went 2-1 with one game being postponed. I went 6-2. 6-2. But I'm just going to -1 everything. Dogs, favorites, -1 everything. Some of those plays were just too easy. The Mariners believing in Kikuchi. I'm telling you, Kikuchi's bet on. And then the Twins beating up on my sad sack Blue Jays. Too easy. Jansen in the house. Jansen Bonds representing the Six himself. We got Vinny Cornell. We got Nuke Worker. Says, hope everyone jumped on the Twins last night over my Blue Jays. Easiest money I ever made. Attaboy. Nuke Worker. Attaboy. We got Nut Flush Allen in the house. We got the bartender in the house. Ty Clinton. Juan Ruiz. Gabriel Hernandez. Wow, I was thinking about you too. Was just 2 points away from hitting my plus 1,200 accumulator. Oh, man. Oh, that was close. We got Antoine Seymour, Walla Walla Dose, Scotty Warp, DJ Big Boss, R.A.'s Rockstar, Nick Arcuri, Lou Chase Fox, Aaron Bistrin, Joe Anisi, Felicia Travis, Steve Cordero, Series Business, Xavier Oliver, WW Train, Jason Turgi. What a great group. Russell Gordy, Early Morning Dogs, Marlins, White Sox. You know, I always do this. When I have a good day in a sport, I'm always a mess. Joe Anisi said off of 5. Joe Anisi is off a 5-0-1 day. I love it. Eddie Euler been hot in NHL. Stars Blues OT under. Yeah, that was amazing, Eddie Euler. I was trying to remember yesterday who had both the under 5 and the overtime. It was you. Nice job. Nice job. Steve Cordero says done for the year. I mean, is that? Nutflush Allen said, Caden said, I told you, champ. Caden did. Caden told me not to worry. Trust the Sharks. What? Now I have a question for Caden. Nutflush, please ask Caden. Pull him out of school and ask him this. What happens to the Warriors now? And is that a fact, Steve? Is that a fact that he's done for the year? Kate Pasquis says, Bruins in the groove. With Raps playing well. Carolina practiced only for a while. Easy decision. We got Joseph Gomez in the house. All right, AN in the house. We got Ricky Bob. We got Yellow Jesus blessing all our picks. AN says, you ready for the tripod? Yes, I am ready for your play of the day. Yes, and American House. Von Polo. JD. Curry's one without Durant. Can he do it again? Nope. Walla Walla Dose says, morning fam, took him to prison pocket on the over Golden State Houston Rockets. But it's time to make it all back. Yeah, I stayed off the total there. Kyrie, man, he was so bad. And did you see him try? It was kind of sad. What a way. That's basically how the series went when he tried to take that charge there at the end of the game, and he just got destroyed by Antetokounmpo. Just shoulder into the heart. And then Stevens pulled him for the day. Nukework says, Jimmy, just starting lunch at the plant, ready for a little listen. Oh, love you, Nukeworker. Congrats on your big play there. All right. Let's get to work. We got Obvious TV in the house. We got Ilya Katz in the house. Dom Ricci, representing NYC in the house. We got Base Kniff. Blue Chase Fox says, KD not coming back. Jansen says, Kawhi said in an interview the other night, one more. That's enough for me to take the Raptors tonight. You know what? And Gate Pasquet says, Blues will be tough. Blues are going to be so tough. Blues are going to be really tough. I'm concerned. I've got to figure out how to handle everything now. Because there's, $3,600 up for grabs if the Sharks win the cup for me. And so I've been thinking about it. And I've got more to think about, more to figure out. One simple hedge just on the other side of it is to take the Bruins to win the cup, which is something I will do. Another thing you could do is you could parlay Bruins Blues and then parlay Hurricanes Blues, but come on. We're not going to see a Carolina St. Louis Stanley Cup final, are we? I mean, that's mind-blowing. But we'll talk about that. We got a lot of games to get through, and I'm very uncomfortable. Wow, Joseph Cohen says Boogie coming back now that he's healthy. But how healthy is he really? Is he actually coming back? Is that facts? Sharp money in the house. AJ Williams. Okay, we got a lot to get to work. We got a lot of afternoon baseball. We're going to be joined by Babano here in 33 minutes. We have a small card today. We're going to be able to deep dive into every single game on both the morning show and the late show. Eddie Euler saying Hurricanes Bruins under 5.5. That's so juiced. That's like minus 145 now. That'll be a 5 in minutes. Rez Mob in the house. MMK says nothing to worry about with St. Louis Blues. Sharks will win the cup. That's very hard for me to believe in just because I need it, Vinny Cornell. Mally Mal in the house. Russell Gordy says, Jimmy, Canes win tonight, sir. Well, I mean, if Canes win tonight, then I'd be better off just waiting for the Bruins to win the cup till after they lose. Right now, Bruins on my book to win the cup are plus 190. These decisions have to be made at some point today. Whoa, Steven Esposito, Jimmy killed it last night. That's some things. 1-2 in NBA and 0-1 in NHL because of the hedge. So financially, it was okay. Up just under 4.5 units. Don Reed says, damn, who's better than Taint? Are you kidding me? With not only Cleveland worst hitting team, but run line. What a gift we have in Matt Taint Randall. I don't think he wants that nickname, Don. Matt Taint Randall. I don't think he wants that nickname. Okay, let's get to work. Russell Gordy liking the Canes tonight. Very interesting. Ray Williams. Both public sides lost in NBA last night. How could the public be on the Warriors? But, I mean, the only reason I guess we cashed is because KD went out, so, Oh, Joe Rich says, Sharks win cup. We will party for a month in the Bay Area. Trust and believe. Oh, I'd love it. You know what? Big Joe, Lil Joe. We get the cup gets to come back to Vancouver with Evander Kane. Come on. Von Polo says, do we have any horse picks today? I'm laying in bed watching the show. I-70, very comfortable on my off day. Nice, Von Polo. Respect. Okay, let's get to work. Steve Cordero says, yeah, instead of making 10, 15 bets, just take the taint play today, put 2,000 on it. Hey, I hear you. Carlos Barros says, Carolina will have a bigger barbecue than last time. They will win the cup. No. God, no. How's that? I mean, I find that extremely difficult to believe. But let's start there. Hurricanes, Bruins. Let's talk it out. Let's break this down. So we're going to touch on hockey, touch on NBA, break down the baseball games. We're going to touch on each and every one of the games that's on the card right now. The total has gone, the under 5.5 is minus 140 is the lowest you can get. Oh, minus 135 at Heritage. Up to minus 145 at Bookmaker and Bet Online, Bovada. Minus 141 at Pinnacle. God, I mean, that's just so low. I mean, it's just screaming for you to take the over, but I'm not going to do that at this point. Boston opens up as a minus 155 favorite. There's been a 12-cent move towards the Carolina Hurricanes. We're expecting Mrazek to be in net in the playoffs. Mrazek's gone 5-3 with a 2.22 goals against average, .913 save percentage. just 1 point lower save percentage than he had during the regular season. Tuukka Rask in the playoffs has been very good. 8-5, 2.02 goals against average, .938 save percentage. The Bruins in the playoffs, their power play is 10 for 35, 28.65%. Short-handed, they've killed off 31 of 37 penalties for 83.8%. And that's much better than the Carolina Hurricanes. Much better. And that's how I don't see the Hurricanes beating the Bruins. The Hurricanes went up against the Islanders team that had terrible power play all year long. The Hurricanes have had a good penalty killing during the regular season. They're 8th in the league. But we're talking about a Bruins special teams that's just very good. Now, Charlie McAvoy out for the first game. That's a big, big point. But looking at this spot right here, the Carolina Hurricanes power play has gone 4 for 38 in the playoffs. They've killed 27 of 36 penalties, 75%. That's not enough. They carry a 6-game winning streak into game 1. Do you want to get in the way of a 6-game winning streak at this huge favorite line? I don't. Eddie Oiler putting 100 on Canes, Bruins to go to OT. And there's another guy, Eric Jones, saying Canes win it all, Jimmy. I don't know how they do it. But they took out Washington in 7. And I wasn't sure how they would be able to do that. But this Bruins team just seems to have it all coming together right now. Bruins came back from a 2-1 series deficit against the Blue Jackets. Rask, 39 save shutout in Game 6. In the last series, he had a 1.71 goals against average, a .948 save percentage. McAvoy suspended. They were either going to get John Moore or Kevin Miller back from injury to take McAvoy's place. This is a deep defense. They're going to miss McAvoy playing 25 minutes a game. Pasternak leads the Bruins in postseason scoring with 6 goals. He has 4 goals his last 5 games. Teuvo Teravainen is tied with them. 6 goals. Most in the playoff in the East. Jansen says, Bruins have great chemistry with youth and veterans. They do. Steve Cordero says, Sharks win it all. Kevin Pine says, McAvoy is a big loss. We'll go over that. AJ Williams, I have all the weather reports and everything. Sharp Money, I love it. Shout out to your son. With you as his father, he has a bright future. I believe in him very, very much. Lamont Williams giving us his max bet. This has been cashing very nicely as well. I'm going to copy and paste that. Nick Arcuri says, staying off game 1. I'm staying off game 1, I think. But this total is becoming more and more appealing to me. So we'll have to see what it does at 5. Eddie Oiler says, happy day, Sharks won, Stanley Cup future still alive. Figured this was the year for Big Joe to get it. We need it. I need it. I don't know if you need it as bad as I need it, Eddie. I need it. So, all said and done, the Bruins Hurricanes met 3 times during regular season. Boston won twice. Who cares? Sebastian Aho, though, was a beast in those 3 games. He scored 4 goals and 3 assists. Well, I'm going to have to make a move on the Bruins to win the Cup. I expect that to be the move that I make. I am going to... I'm probably going to sit on it until the afternoon. All right, Guap Gucci said, I made the biggest mistake of my life. I blow my rent money on gambling. I don't know what to do. Yeah, it's money management's paramount. And, our leader, Pistol Pete Loshak, always talked about money management, and it's the only way to survive. And I do a bad job at it too, Guap Gucci. Sorry, I hate hearing that. I do a real bad job at that as well. All right. Boston today says Alonzo Shivers. Eric Jones says, no, Jim. I just don't see how the Hurricanes can beat this Boston Bruins squad. I just don't. But I'm very nervous. I'm nervous about the Blues and Sharks. Okay, so we'll if this goes down to 5, I'll probably jump on the over. Yeah, I'm not going to wait, Nick. I'm going to take it today. I should probably take it right now. I have not bet it yet, but I will. Let's see if it stayed the same as it was from early this morning. Bruins to win the Cup in my book quickly right here. And hope this is the hedge that I need to win outright. Expecting to see plus 190, and that's what I see. So for my book, it's Bruins plus 190, Sharks plus 220, Blues plus 350, Hurricanes plus 380. Wow. So another move would be just hedging these things. So hedging the series wins, not the outright wins, obviously. All right, I'm going to take the Bruins to win the Stanley Cup at plus 190. Oh, speaking of another loss adding because of the hedge, they all count. All these losses count. I'm on a huge losing streak in NHL playoffs right now. Rafa, can you put up my NHL record before we move on? Thank you. There it is. Horrifying. Down to a 0.57% ROI, February 7th present. Imagine if I didn't have those sweeps on the Thursdays. I had 3 sweeps. Don't like it. All right. Bruins to win cup plus 190. LEV says, I think Blues take it. Yeah, we'll have to see. Okay, let's get into NBA now. Raptors, Sixers, and, when I started working with Tomarino Tomor when I came down here, a year and a half ago, he was always backing teams that would lose by 30 plus in NBA, and it just seemed to cash each and every time. I'm just a little concerned about how badly the Raptors beat the Sixers. Toronto opens up as a minus 1.5 point favorite. It's now minus 2. The total opens at 213.5. It's now 212.5. Mikey D in the house on over 5.5 last night for me. I didn't make the move on the under. No, I just didn't. That would have helped. Russell Gordy says, stop betting faves, Jimmy. Your record will be better. Did you see Russell Gordy? Are we looking at the same thing? Not under 500, Russell. Can you put my record back up? Let's just make sure we're on the same page. Just so weird. Seeing that. Yeah, can you put it back up again, Russell Gordy? All right, so let's just. Don't look at the winning percentage, Russell Gordy. Please look at the units and the ROI. God, I didn't sleep much last night. Don't set me off, please. All right, Lamont Williams, I copied and pasted your play there. Please don't look at the winning percentage. Please don't look at the winning percentage. Look at the units before you tell me what I should be doing with my NHL picks. Before I pick up this computer and I smash it against the wall. All right. Raptors, Sixers. I'm a little hesitant to back the Raptors here after they demolished the Sixers. It just... Siakam, 25 points, 8 boards. Kawhi Leonard, 21 points, 13 boards. Danny Green, 17 points. We have a balanced effort. And that kind of balanced effort allows this team to smash the Sixers. But Siakam is still an issue. He says, it's my calf and it's my hamstring. It's both combined. Embiid played one of his poorest games of the season. I mean, it's ugly. 13 points, 6 boards, 8 turnovers. He's clearly sick with this respiratory infection. He's clearly got a knee injury. Simmons also was terrible. 7.7 boards, 5 turnovers. 13 turnovers combined. I mean, they're an absolute mess. But I don't know if I want to... everybody's going to be on the Raptors after that demolishing, and I just feel like NBA doesn't really work like that. 30 points. I mean, man, there was a ton of people. The total opens at 213.5. Now it's 212.5. This is another game I just need to sit with for a little longer. I know that the simple play is just to take the Raptors. That's the simple play. Dad fan says, Jimmy, don't hedge. I know you don't want to hear preachy BS, but you've got great futures and the Sharks are winning. I'm just a little nervous. And I'm certainly going to hedge if it looks... I need the Sharks to get up in the series. I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to hedge. I'd just like to be in a situation where I can cut down my losses a little bit At this point, the hedging is only costing me $200 out of possible $3,600. But we'll talk more about it. IPL betting says, what is NBA and how to bet on these games? That's a very interesting question. Okay, let's keep rolling. Raptors, Sixers. Let's move on to Nuggets, Blazers. We're going to be talking about this game a lot on the Late Show. We have special guests on the Late Show. So, more work to do. Nick Arcuri says, Raptors, Jimmy, lean under on the total. Ray Williams says, so far the spread splits 49% Sixers, 51% Raptors. Sharp Money says, Embiid ain't showing up. That's the play that I would like to do. Jesse Davis says, you're right, Raps only win by 26 this time. It just, I just been around the association for so long, and it just doesn't really work like that. Steve Cordero says, Raptors, Blazers. Let's talk about this Nuggets-Blazers spot right now. Nuggets, Blazers. Let's throw up the NBA record, please, because even that's been taking hits. Finished last year up 9.8 units, and right now, I can't believe I'm having a worse year than last year. I mean, I'm still up overall, but don't like it. Portland opens as 4-point favorites. They're now 3.5-point favorites. The total opens at 215. Now it's 215.5. Dad Fan says, one question, are the Sharks a great team? IPL says, but I'm serious, Nidia. Many people don't know. I hear IPL betting. I mean, we don't really have time to break down exactly what the NBA is, but it's the National Basketball Association. It's basketball, and we have so many books. All you have to do is go to sportsbookreview.com, and go to that website, sportsbookreview.com. It will explain exactly how to bet on basketball and all the different books and everything you can. So at this point with this game, IPL, just to give you an idea, if you're going to take Portland to win minus 3.5, they have to win by at least 4 points. And if you take them on the money line, it's minus 160 about. So for every $160 you bet, you'll win 100. And the opposite, with Denver. Hope that helps, my friend. Nuggets are up 3-2. Denver put a beat down. Every game had been so close until that beatdown. Each team had won once on the other team's home court. Jokic dominated Enes Kanter. Enes Kanter's honoring Ramadan. He's not eating from sunrise to sunset. And, that's got to take a little bit of energy away from him. But maybe it doesn't. It's ignorant for me to talk about Ramadan at all. And ignorant for me to talk about how that really affects the body. But I would just imagine that, when they're banging in the paint, he's just not going to have as much energy as someone who's been eating all day. And, he's coming off a game where he had 9 points on 2 for 9 shooting. But it's ignorant for me to talk about that. But Lillard is being a big problem. 7 for 32 on threes since exploding for 39 points in game 1. McCollum goes 5 for 16 from 3. The Blazers, we're talking about a Nuggets team that had no experience in the playoffs, and now they're rolling. Do they take care of business here? Let's see what you guys says. Andre Smith says, Portland won't cover, don't do it. We got Joey Jack in the house. Eric Jones on the over 215.5. Gate Pasky says, Raps is easy to play. Raps are just too strong and a better team, man for man. I hear that. Sharp Money says Embiid under. That seems like the play to make right now. And I wonder what that is. But let's see what you guys are saying. Elliot V says, staying away from Portland today. Dad Fan says, one thing I like about the Blazers, they aren't quitters like the sorry Celtics. But Nugs, take this. Our man, Gas Station Shooter said, take the Cardinals run line. We're going to be talking about baseball very soon. And Demetrius Miller says no painkillers for Enes, also for that shoulder. Ian says people are tired and hungry during Ramadan. It's tough. But I don't know what I'm talking about. Alois Irola says no, he has big meals. That's not going to bother him too much. Possible. Andre Smith says Portland got their 1 game. Or 2 games here. You got Moss says Portland wins big. First blowout of the series coming tonight. Come on, you got Moss. We just saw a huge blowout. Trenton Claxton says Blazers first quarter. Von Polo's on Denver. Russell Gordy says Sixers win, Portland wins. Vegas knows better. We'll take Toronto now that the Bucks won. Vegas knows that bettors will now take Toronto because the Bucks won. Don't fall for it. Game 7s look good. Raps and Golden State for the series. Wow. I mean, that just seems to be something that happens in this sport, you know? Bumpolo says that my family actually takes part in Ramadan. Well, all love to all you guys, you know, everybody. And those of you in Ramadan right now, all love to you guys. And I just don't know how it affects the body, especially when you have to bang with Jokic in the paint. My man Todd says, I think Red Girl is right. Taking the 4 is the way to go. Ron Crawford's got his baseball plays in. I'm not going to make it. We have King Rail right now. It says, think of taking a first half over in Portland. And he already took Houston big. Oh, please. 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 We have futures for Houston that could help a lot. God, next month could be glorious. A little 5G month would help a lot. That's very right. He's been doing it his whole life, so he probably knows exactly how he's handling things. But, you got Mossman meant first blow for Portland coming tonight. Clearly what Russell Gordy's saying is the public's going to be on the Nuggets and the public's going to be on the Raptors, and we know it just doesn't work that easy. So we're going to be talking about these games heavy on the afternoon show, so I'm not making a move on anything right now. T. Nice says, Elite, once the sun goes down, we'll be fine for the game. Will the sun be down in time for the game? I mean, the sun's setting later and later, but that's what I figured too. Andre Smith says, +4 Denver is the play. Now 3.5. All right, let's get into afternoon baseball. We got some big games coming up and pretty tough games to cap. Thank you, Dustin H. I needed that one. All the best, sharp money. Much love to you. And Embiid under is the paint play of the day from AN. Let's just see what Embiid's unders are, because that 36.5 yesterday was just ludicrous. Let's see what we're getting right now. So for points, Embiid is 21.5. For points, assists, and rebounds, Embiid is 35.5. Come on. I mean, he could go for 16 points and 12 rebounds and 3 assists, not come close to getting the over in that, and have a good game. Wow. 35.5? I should jump on that right now. Maybe I should jump on that right now. King Rail in the chat, what do you think about jumping on that right now? Under 35.5 points, rebounds, assists? That just has to be jumped on. 35.5, it was 36.5 yesterday. Ugh. Tomino says, I think Philadelphia shows up at home early. I get that. Don Corleone joining us says, told you, Jimmy, Golden State first quarter. You're right. Yeah, Eddie Oiler, how could that possibly be 35.5? 35.5? I mean, that's... So, in game 4, excuse me, it was... Sorry, in game 5, it was 36.5. King Rail says he will show up tonight, Jimmy. But that's what I'm saying, King, is he can show up and not get to 35.5. And if he does show up, the Raptors just put out Gasol and Ibaka on the floor at the same time. See, Elliot V says 22.7 boards, 5. I bet you gets more boards than that. Okay, see, that's a problem. The problem is that these plays look so simple, and we know that that's how the association gets you. And that's how we get screwed. But 35.5? Don Corleone says, no way. How's he going to get 35.5? I just don't see how that's possible. I mean, Lower East Side Roller says he has at least one game a week in him in these playoffs. I think this is the game. This is just nuts to me. Absolutely nuts. I mean, how did we not take that? And I don't mean that we got so much to talk about in baseball today, but how do you not take... LEV says, too close, I wouldn't touch that. Ray Williams says, books lay a lot of traps in the playoffs. This feels like a trap. Mikey D says, 24-12 beats us with an assist, though. All right, it's just messing with my head. These 3 plays seem so simple, and The association will get you every time you think something's too simple. Cordero says 23 and 10's already 33. All right. King Rail says, very true, Jimmy. I think he has to be big on the glass. He will take 3 or more threes. They will feed him, and he will get to the line in Philly. All right, I'm not going to take it right now. And something that we talk about, and a lot of cappers talk about, is going back to the well a second time. For whatever reason, going back to the well a second time, historically, we're really poor record when I make the same bet the next day. Historically, it's really bad, and I've just tried not to do that. Antoine Seymour says, Jimmy, that's money. Don't overthink it. Go with your gut. Fuck it. Don Corleone says, I'm on it with you, Jimmy. That's my cash cow. Miami solo over. Or under, excuse me. Oh, man. It just seems 35. Because, I mean, he could have a really good game and not get there. All right, let's get to baseball. I'm not going to make a move on it yet. Okay, sorry. This is just confusing. Okay, let's get to work right now. Let's start with Angels, Tigers. 72 Fahrenheit, overcast, and huge wind in. 17 miles per hour in. Angels, Tigers. Oh, sorry, let's go to Reds and Stoles. There's been a big market move here in this game. So it opened at 9. It's now up to 9.5. And I get that because of the pitchers, but man, and then we talk about wind being overrated. 17 miles coming in the morning. Pena. This says Pena's pitching. I have Luke Bard. Shit. Who do you guys have pitching for the Angels? See who the books have here. I have Luke Bard. I capped this with Luke Bard pitching. Luke Bard is pitching. Okay, so Sportsbook backwards. Okay, let's stay focused. Let's stay focused here. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay, so it is Bard. So it says Pena here, but it is Bard. So the Angels open at minus 115. They're now minus 131 or minus 132. DJ Big Boss says under in the Angels game. Angels hitting 202, 630 OPS versus lefties. We have Ryan Carpenter coming up from Toledo. He looked terrible last year when he came up. Terrible. Absolutely awful. He did 1-2 with a 7.25 ERA. And he started a game against the Angels. Now he's only one good game. Yeah, Bard is pitching, everybody says. But let's talk about Carpenter first. So with Bard pitching, we know he's an opener. It's going to be a bullpen game, and this Angels team has very good bullpen. Oh, and baseball. Let's get that baseball record up. Coming off a 6-2 day, the Mariners at plus lines were very easy. It's getting a little bit better. A little bit better. Hobart Herberger now says, Jimmy found a trend. Tampa Rays have scored or allowed to run in 7 of the past 8 games first inning. Something to look forward to moving on. Scoring the first line is not being juiced either. Nice. I like it. Russell Gordy says Tigers game way over. Brandon Lugo says Carpenter is terrible. In Toledo, 1-4, 4.09 ERA, 1.18 whip, 33 innings, 27 Ks, 11 walks, 4 homers. We got top sets plays coming in. Top set plays here. I'm going to copy and paste them. And one of them is the Pirates under 4.5 minus 105. Mariners under 9.5 minus 127. Rockies under 5.5 minus 110 first 5. Cubs under 5.5 first 5. Astros under 9 minus 118. Okay. So I'm just going to copy and paste my man Elio's plays. Matt Randall says the Angels have to be the play here. They do have a very strong bullpen on bullpen day. This total opened at 9. It's gone up to 9.5. This Tigers offense, they're getting offense from Ronnie Rodriguez, batting .343, homers, 12 RBIs, 14 games since coming up from Toledo. Yesterday, he was a homer shy of the cycle. He has as many homers as Castellanos and Cabrera together. Unbelievable. Trenton Claxton's on Cleveland first 5, Cubs first 5, both on the run line. Q Peso joining us. Shout out to Q Peso, Nuggets money line, 76ers money line. Interesting. Luke Bard has looked very good. He's not allowed an earned run in his last 6 appearances, totaling 8 2/3. He's allowed just 2 hits in 8 2/3. Nick Arcuri says Angels under full game play the day, Jimmy. I'm telling you. The bartender says agree with you on the Angels. This Angels team can't hit lefties. Let's take a look at what lineups we're getting here. See if Ohtani's in again today. Here we go. Confirmed lineups. Fletcher, Trout, Ohtani, Simmons, Pujols, Calhoun, Smith, Cozart, Listella. For the Tigers, Candelario, Castellanos, Cabrera, Goodwin, Rodriguez, Castro, Beckham, Griner, Jacoby Jones. That's tough. That's tough. Dad Fence has got to get my play today in here. I won't be your late show. Rockies and Freeland get it done today. A little expensive, but they crush Holland and the Giants in the afternoon. Joe Anisi's on the New York over 9 in Yankees Seattle, under first 5 in Reds Oakland, and over 9 Pittsburgh St. Louis. I feel like the Angels have an advantage, but the Angels don't hit lefties well, and here comes in Ryan Carpenter. I can understand why there's been a move towards the Angels. Man, I'm just hesitant today. I don't know why I'm this hesitant. All right, my man Angel Romero says Mexican playoff soccer action coming tonight. Jimmy, stay tuned. We'll tweet out the plays. Love it. Eddie Oil says Albert Pujols over 14 since he homered for his 1999th RBI on Saturday. DJ Big Boss says, I don't trust the Angels bats to do well on the road game in the morning. Yeah, I agree. And we got Ohtani, who's 0-7. I'm surprised this line is moving so fast to the over, but it is, and I don't want to go against the market. We'll see if Babano has a play in that Angels-Tigers game. Russell Gordy says, Jimmy, Ryan is a dump truck over. If Ryan is a dump truck and we trust the Angels' bullpen, maybe the better spot is just to take the Angels. Just going to leave that as a lean towards the Angels. Ben Sports Pick 24/7 says Detroit moneyline Angels bats aren't to be trusted. They aren't. I mean, look what's going on with them right now. They're getting nothing. Trout went 0-4 yesterday, struck out 3 times. Ohtani's 0-7. All right, let's move on to White Sox Indians. White Sox Indians, Banuelos versus Carrasco. We have Carrasco at home, where he just doesn't pitch very well. On the road, he's lights out. At home, he's not. Indians open at minus 197. Huge move towards them. There's been a 34-cent move towards them. The total opens at 8.5. It's now at 9. Eddie Oler says 10-3 Detroit yesterday. Don't have a play here. Nick Arcuri says under, Jimmy. It's a play. Take it. Moses Alvidrez saying fade Richards. We're going to get to that game soon. Jorge, don't play in the house. Tom Regis says, Eddie, I agree. I had Detroit yesterday, but laying off this one. Gate Pasquis says you are tentative because of the Sharks' futures rattling around your subconscious. Deep breath and let it go for now so you can focus on MLB. That's well put, Gate Pasquis. Well put. Okay. Nick Arcuri liking the over in the White Sox Indians game again. This is the weather, wind playing a huge effect, but opposite, 18 miles per hour and out. Dom Ricci says Sharks is a great future, Jim. Man, I hope so. Dom, I hope so. Let's take a look at what lineups we're dealing with here. White Sox Indians, White Sox, Garcia, Moncada, Abreu, Alonso, McCann, Delmonico, Anderson, Tilson, Sanchez. For the Indians, Lindor, Kipnis, Ramirez, Santana, Luplo, Gonzalez, Bowers, Perez, Naquin. Yeah. Banuelos. I mean, the Indians are hitting 214 with a 594 OPS versus lefties. And that's just horrifying. Horrifying. White Sox hitting 256, 756 OPS versus righties, and you never know when Carrasco's going to step it up, but don't trust him at home. Cleveland was outscored 21-1 until last game yesterday. Ramirez reached base safely in 17 straight games. Bowers, 20 for his last 64. I don't know why the Rays got rid of Bowers. I like him. Indians had 12 hits yesterday after getting 17 in the previous 3 games. Carrasco served up a career-high 4 homers and 7 2/3 against Seattle on Saturday. Carrasco likes hot weather. 8-10 with a 3.98 ERA and 25 career appearances against Chicago. Banuelos got touched. You know, I think that the over is maybe the play here. Let's take a look at what we get right now on the over. All right, quickly, here we go. Let's go straight to totals. I'm sure that Jin Rummy got it nice and early. But 9 and minus 105. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the over 9 and minus 105. I think there'll be offense here. Over 9, minus 105. All right, I'm on it. My first play on this card, finally. Thank you to Gate Pasquis for getting me to take a deep breath and focus on baseball. I'm on the over 9 and minus 105. White Sox, Indians. Tomar says Cleveland's offense isn't good enough to lay big numbers. Books have been overvaluing them. And Don Regis says Taint just woke up the Cleveland bats. Von Post said I don't trust Cleveland scoring enough runs. I just don't trust Manny Banuelos at all. Andre Smith said he was tipping his pitches. He's always bad at home. All right. Let's keep rolling along. Marlins, Cubs, Richards, Darvish. Man, Darvish is bad, and he's been bad this year. He's just bad. Let's take a look. Total's gone up from 9.5 to 10. This is another game where there's heavy wind going out. Heavy wind going out. Richards, Darvish, open at 9.5, now 10. The money line opened at minus 190. There's been a 15-cent move towards the Cubbies. Marlins hitting 216, 594 OPS versus righties. God, they're 10 and 26. The Cubs have won 2 straight off of walk-offs. Trevor Richards tried to pick up his first win in the season. 0-4, 4.10 ERA, 1.31 WHIP. Much better numbers than Darvish. Russell Gordy says Cleveland doesn't score like that, Jimmy, under. I'm expecting the White Sox to help with the offense there. Q Pacers on the White Sox solo over 3.5. I like that look. Mikey D says sees that. Did the Indians' bats wake up? It's warmer there today, and it's nice wind going out. Steve Cordero says Darvish pitches great today. Can you trust this Darvish? At minus 200? Wow. Wow, and 5 dimes just moved that total to 10.5. So did Bovada. Wow. CT Bay says Marlins plus 183 is a nice price. They've been in these games versus the Cubs. Russell Gordy says, I got Cheesecake Factory off Darvish the other day, going back to it, fading him. Wow. Moses says Darvish 2-1 versus Marlins his career. Do I have his career numbers here against? 4 career starts. He's 2-1 with a 6.75 ERA. Let's talk Giants-Rockies. Also, are we going to get this game in today, Giants-Rockies? And then let's get Babano on the phone if we can. Giants-Rockies, let's take a look at this. We have an expected lineup. Oh, the Cubs lineups come in. Hayward, Bryant, Rizzo, Baez, Schwarber, Amora Jr., Bodie, Davis. We don't have the lineups for the Cards or for the Giants-Rockies yet. Elliot V says Cubs will get to Richards. I like Richards' changeup. I like Richards. Don Reach says Cubs winning but letting up a lot of runs with Marlins pitchers. Richards has a good change, but when he's on, he's tough. Eileen Marlins team total over in Marlins. Richard Lee says still snowing here in Denver. Turn to rain soon. Might clear up, but cold. I like Rocky's run line. Yeah, I would like to go against Derek Holland here for sure. Back to Rockies and Kyle Freeland. Giants are hitting 218, 596 OPS versus lefties. Freeland's had a bad year, but he's been unlucky. But we have to see if this game even goes off. Freeland's now giving up 8 home runs in 7 starts. Always pitched well against the Giants, except on April 13th. He had that blister issue then. 3 runs, 9 hits, 5 innings. Holland is just not a pitcher I believe in, and I used the Hellebuck analogy yesterday. He didn't have to work for his job this year. He didn't have a job a year ago at this time, and he worked his ass off all winter, and then he got a job with the Giants, and he pitched great. This year he knew he was coming back. Let's see what you'd get on the -1 line for the Rockies here. I don't know if this game goes off, but if it does, I'm going to take the Rockies on the -1 line. I'm getting Pinnacle money line at -144. So -1, so that's money line -144. And the run line here, quickly, point spreads. Let's get Babano in here. I'm -1. Point spreads here. Let's get it. Full game. Rockies +135 is the best that I'm seeing. +135 in a couple different books. Heritage and 5 dimes. All right. Okay, that is that. We have more games to talk about. We have Reds, A's. We have Mariners, Yankees. We have Pirates, Cardinals. Rangers, Astros, Braves, Diamondbacks, and that's Dodgers. Wow, we only got through 4 of the 6. Hopefully, Babano's got plays on them. Let's bring Babano in right now. And Dummy says game should go off. Babano, we love having you on these Thursday mornings. Thank you so much for joining us live from Hamilton, Ontario, Steel Town. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing on this Thursday morning?
Doing good, Jimmy. Ready to rock and roll. Let's break down this card.
Yeah, we only have 13 games on the card, so able to break down each and every one of them. Where would you like to start?
Well, we'll go in. I don't have anything on Angels Tigers, so I know everybody's talking about that game before I came on the show here. I got nothing on that game. It's very tricky game. Angels offense should hit Carpenter, but on the road, do I trust them to do that? Not so much. But Carpenter doesn't look like a pitcher I'm in any rush to back. The total's too high for an over, and I know it's the 1:10 p.m. Eastern game. Just a word of caution. Just because it's the 1:10 p.m. Eastern game doesn't mean you got to bet it. That's the thing. If you got an edge, bet it. But, just because it's one of the first games on the board, unless you have a good reason and a good, strong opinion and a positive expectation, betting opportunity, not necessary to bet it, especially in a sport like baseball.
Absolutely. And as a group here, we're all coming off a huge winning day in baseball. So let's pick and choose. Well, if we skip that game, we go right to the White Sox-Indians game. Or what game would you like to talk about?
I'm going to talk about Cincinnati and Oakland because
Perfect.
This is an interesting handicap here with these two teams off of a marathon game last night. When you look at it, extra innings, two bullpens that have been, a little mediocre, a little shaky, a little suspect as of late. That's definitely a concern here. You go all the way to the 13th inning last night. Oakland winning 5-4. Stephen Piscotty with the walk-off home run. You've got two mediocre bullpens as it is. Going into this game, taxed bullpens. They worked heavily last night, and you got two pitchers here with Tanner Roark for the Cincinnati Reds and Bassett for the Oakland Athletics. These aren't innings eaters. These guys, they're not. These are not guys that you typically trust to get you deep into a ball game. That's just not usually what they're accustomed to doing from a length perspective. I mean, when you look at Tanner Roark this season, look at his starts: 4.1, 5.1. He hasn't gotten past the sixth inning other than one start this year. Chris Bassett, he's only gotten past the sixth inning in one start this year. The other two starts he's had since joining this Oakland rotation, he's been in there for 5 innings. That's not going to cut it when your bullpen is gassed, it's tired, it's taxed from the night before, from having to deal a lot of innings. So you've got suspect bullpens, shaky, starters that don't pitch deep into games, and you got Oakland here on all of a sudden, a 5-1 run over the total here in this entering this game here today. I think you see runs here in this game, particularly late in the game. Cincinnati's come out of their offensive doldrums a little bit. They've scored 11, 9, 5, 12, 4 runs in 5 of their last 6 games. So that offense, which couldn't hit their way out of a wet paper bag early on, they're hitting a lot better now. They're also 5-1 over the total their last 6 games. Total's only 8.5. I know it's Oakland. It's the Coliseum, which is more of a pitcher park, but it's a day game. It plays more hitter friendly just a little bit. You can do a little bit more damage offensively in a park like this in the day than you can late at night in Oakland, especially in the Bay Area when you got the marine layer and you got the wind coming in off the water there. So to me, this is setting up for, I think, some runs in this game. I like the over.
It's an interesting look because there's so many moving parts, and the tired bullpens is key to your bet for sure. But Votto, 3 for 30 in his last 8 games. Chris Davis re-injured himself in the 5th inning, so he's going to be out of the lineup. Interesting. It's a really, really interesting look. Really interesting look, and there hasn't been a ton of movement. The first 5 is at 4.5. It opened at 5, so you could have got it at 5. And then the full game total here in Oakland, 8.5, and almost no movement. You know what? There is now movement coming in on the over. Right now. Just right now. Just with the red. Now, oh, wow. Then back down. Bookmaker moved that over 8.5 to -115, just moved down to -110. BetOnline's got the over at 8.5, -115. So there's a 10-cent move to the over at BetOnline. It's a real interesting look.
Yeah, I don't want it at 9. If you can get 8.5, it's a good bet. I don't love it at 9. 9 in Oakland is not a thing I'm comfortable with. But if you can get 8.5 with that, I do think the over's worth the bet there.
Russell Gordy has an interesting point about the empty park they're going to have today. It's going to be completely empty. 61 Fahrenheit, 7 miles per hour out to straightaway center. Steve Cordero says A's easy money. Pie Guy says the Oakland bench players are almost as good as the starters, though. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, I like that look, and I love that we broke down a game we hadn't done yet. What's next on the docket for you?
Colorado, someone mentioned them. I'd lay the $145 with the Rockies today. I mean, Derek Holland and Coors Field is not a good fit. He's not had a good track record in this ballpark. Obviously, the Giants have had a rough season. Freeland has obviously not pitched up to snuff this year compared to what we've seen from him in the past. But historically, if you go long term beyond just this season, his numbers at Coors Field have been very good. So this is just a little bit of a rough patch for him. This is still a ballpark historically. Like I said, he's fared pretty well in. You got to hope this is a buy low on Kyle Freeland, in my opinion. I know this has not been a great season for him so far, but this is at home against a feeble San Francisco Giants lineup. I think this is a good spot for him to maybe get back on track, turn it around a bit. Hopefully this game gets in. I can't for the life of me understand why that game got postponed last night. There was a couple drops of rain. That was it. I know it was cold, but there's no reason, none, zero, to postpone that game last night, especially knowing that the weather may actually be worse for a game getting in today than it was last night. I have no clue what the Rockies were thinking doing that. The people that run Coors Field and the organization in general postponing that game. I think that was a needless postponement, in my opinion. Nevertheless, it was. So here we are now wondering if we'll get this game in too, and that could be two postponements. One of them you didn't need to go through. But in the end, if this game goes off, I'd lean to Colorado here, minus 145. In fact, I did lay that price. I think the Rockies are right side there.
Yeah, I'm on it on the -1 line. Mikey D saying, shitty weather, Freeland from Denver, he's used to it. Dude will throw well today. Also, our guy AN is on the Rockies -1. Part of his 3 plays of the day. Dodgers -1, Rockies -1, Yankees -1. Okay, let's keep rolling along. I like that breakdown. What else are you looking at?
All right, let me just take a look. Oh, Seattle and the Yankees. Here's another game where I've been absolutely raking in the money with the Seattle overs on the road. They have been just an over machine on the road, the Seattle Mariners team. It continues to be that way. Another over last night in the Seattle Yankees. In fact, all 3 games, 2 overs and 1 push in terms of totals, the first 3 games of this 4-game series with Seattle and the Yankees. And I think for the season on the road, Seattle's something like 19-5 over the total. I mean, they're just been an over machine. And I like the matchup for their offense. If you know anything about this Mariners lineup, you like them more against lefties. And you like them more against southpaws than you do against righties. Their on base percentage, their batting average as a team, runs scored per game. They're all much better for Seattle against lefty pitching than they are righties this season. I think it's a good matchup for them against J Happ. I mean, J Happ's been inconsistent. He's been erratic. And on the flip side, do you trust Mike Leake with his propensity to give up hard hit contact, his propensity to give up fly balls and long balls in Yankee Stadium? I sure don't. Mike Leake's not the kind of guy that I think fits this ballpark too well. And you talk about bullpens. I talked about it in Cincinnati, Oakland. 2 gassed, tired, taxed, fatigued bullpens. We have the same thing here. The Yankees bullpen's been worked hard and struggled at times. The Seattle bullpen has been not only worked hard and extensively, and they've had to pitch a lot of innings because none of their starters are pitching deep, but they're not pitching well at all. That is a really, really rough, bad, struggling Seattle bullpen right now. So the door should be wide open for runs early in the game, wide open for runs late in the game. We get up and over 9.5, I think, in that game.
Yeah, I get it. It's just the only thing concerning me, and it's a slight concern. It's just it's cold in New York today, 55 Fahrenheit. The wind's coming in, but that is a sandbox. I mean, you can get over that. I like it. So I'm just going to put this as a lean. I'm going to need a little more time to hammer this, but Babano on over. Okay.
Yeah, the weather's a concern, but I think I've had over the total in every game in this series. I had the over in the Seattle-Cleveland game on the weekend, the last game of that series, and it's just been cashing time and time again. So I'm going to stick with it. Like I say, I don't think Happ is a good matchup against Seattle. From platoon perspective, they can hit lefties better. And on the flip side, Mike Leake at Yankee Stadium, no, that's not something that I think is a good fit for him. So, the weather might help these 2 pitchers a little bit. But 2 suspect starters, 2 really, really, well, the Yankees bullpen's good, but they've just been worked a bit. They've shown some cracks, and the Seattle bullpen's been garbage, and it's been horrible for days, if not weeks. So, yeah, I think we'll see some runs. Hopefully we will tonight at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. Russell Gordy says cold in New York, 9.5 means under. I like your cap, though. I get it. And then we have from Raven in the Desert saying under umpire in the Yanks game. I'm going to need to hammer this a little bit longer, but I love that we capped again another game that we haven't got to yet. Beautiful work. Is there anything else you're looking at?
In baseball, I think there was one more that I had circled. Let me see. Atlanta, Arizona. The games in Arizona, it can sometimes be a little bit tricky to go under the total in that ballpark. But I think Soroka's got a buy sign next to him. I think he's going to start turning it around. He had a really rough go for a few starts. I know it was the Miami Marlins he played in his last start to turn it around, and Miami's one of the worst lineups in baseball, so maybe that's kind of why he turned it around. But nevertheless, I'm still thinking Soroka's got some high upside, high ceiling for this Atlanta team. And you got to like the way Luke Weaver's throwing the ball. He has been very, very solid lately for the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Atlanta offense has sort of, tailed off a little bit. The Arizona team, I think, offensively, it's been solid for the most part, but, they can come and go at times. And I think Soroka right now might be showing signs of, that potential that Atlanta had in him when he first got the call up here to this Braves team. So 8.5 under the total. We got to play one under. If I have to play one under today, I think this is the game I'd look to do it in with Atlanta and Arizona.
I like both these pitchers. And Weaver, it was paramount that the Diamondbacks picked up Weaver. Paramount that they had him in the deal this summer. They needed him, and he's a special pitcher. But Soroka, the 21-year-old out of Calgary, is a beast. Nice numbers. Hasn't allowed a home run this year. 1.14 ERA, 1.01 WHIP. Opponents hitting 182 against him. Yeah. Don Reed said, Flip, I took full game Arizona under. First thing. Eddie Oilers says, Atlanta, Arizona looks like an under on paper. 3-2 kind of game. Now, what is your expectation on the roof in Arizona tonight? Because it seems like kind of a nice night there. 89 Fahrenheit. 10 miles per hour out to right. Do you think it's possible that they have the roof open?
I'm going to check on that right now, but I'll tell you right now with Arizona's roof, this is around the time of year when you start to see the very last of the days and the games where the roof is open at Chase Field. Once we get into mid-May, late May, the desert heat and the temperatures just go skyrocketing up. And then you'll never see the roof open again the rest of the season pretty much. But we're getting close to that cutoff point, Jimmy, where, we're getting to that point now in the season where that roof's not going to be open very much anymore at all. So I'm going to look into that right now. But that obviously makes a big difference in this ballpark. And often it makes a huge difference in terms of where the total is actually, in terms of the money that comes in on the over. You'll always usually see the over take money in a game at Chase Field once knowledge becomes public that the roof is going to be open at Chase Field for that particular game. So we're going to bring this information up right now. Here we go. Roof information with the Chase Field, and we'll find out if the roof's going to be open. But obviously, there's no question about it. That ends up being something you got to look into when you're betting totals here in Arizona.
No doubt. Take a look at that. Okay, I have to talk to you a little bit about NHL and NBA, but I just want to touch on a couple games here just so we've at least touched on everything. Nationals, Dodgers, the late game tonight. I know that Big Boss will be talking about that game tonight. 63 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 5 miles per hour out to right. Corbin Hill. This Nationals team has these great numbers versus lefties, but that's not real. I mean, that's with all these guys that are out of their lineup. No Turner, Soto, Zimmerman, Adams. Rendon is back, but he's not looking good. So I feel like Hill, who's had a rough start to his season, could get his shit together here against the Dodgers. I wonder what your look on this, and if you think Corbin was great against the Dodgers last year. The total opened at 7.5. It's now down to 7. And quickly, the Dodgers open at minus 130, 16-cent move towards the Dodgers on the money line. You have any lean in Nationals Dodgers?
No, not even close. I will not back Washington. Not a chance I do that. This team just absolutely leaking oil. It's a terrible baseball team right now. They've been banged up lineup wise. Their pitching staff's been a mess. Their bullpen can't get a single out, it seems, these days in the latter innings of games. I want nothing to do with this Washington team, but I'm not in a rush to lay $150 with LA with Rich Hill on the mound. Rich Hill's a bet against guy for me. I cashed an over ticket in his last start. I've sensed a guy that's, let's not forget he's an older pitcher. I think there's nowhere to go but down for this guy. The question is, can this, feeble Washington team hit him? That's a legitimate question mark. Now, the Nationals, in theory, should. They do have better numbers against lefties, 6 runs per game, 278 average against lefties, much better splits for the Nationals lineup against lefty pitching. So maybe they can hit Hill, but they're still such a bad overall, fundamentally horrible team right now, Washington, that I cannot back them. But at this price either, I don't want LA and I don't trust Hill. So easy game to pass and move on from.
And then, great, yeah, I feel you totally. And then just two more games that just to touch on briefly. We have the Rangers-Astros spot, Minor versus Miley. Miley has this huge long streak of allowing 3 earned runs or less. I believe it's like 23 games. He's been very good, but historically very bad against the Rangers. Then we have Mike Minor, who's been lights out. We know that the Rangers smash righties and struggle with lefties. Right now, Houston opens at minus 147. There's been a 9-cent move towards them. This total stuck at 9. You have any lean to help us into our afternoon study with Texas-Houston Lone Star State rivalry?
Yeah, this is tricky because Mike Minor is a hard guy to figure out. There's been some starts he's been absolutely dominant and absolutely brilliant in. Then you look at the advanced metrics and they say this guy should be regressing. And then sometimes I've been in a situation where I've been betting against Minor, thinking regression, and yet he's still pitching good. And then there's a time when, okay, maybe Minor's for real, and I back him, and that's when he decides to implode. So he's been a very, very tough read for me. We'll see how he fares here against this Houston team. Houston, though, in theory, should match up pretty well against Minor. It's the question, can he continue to sort of mask the advanced numbers which portray a picture that maybe he's not pitching as good as his overall performance would indicate so far. And you're right about Texas against lefties with their offense. I don't trust them. Help. Steven Brault, you remember he pitched for Pittsburgh the other night? Rangers could barely crack that guy. You know, they didn't score their runs until he left the game. I mean, that's a guy that you should be able to hit. But because they've been so porous against lefties, they still couldn't hit the guy. So I'm not going to trust them to hit Wade Miley. And Wade Miley has had a decent season so far for the Houston Astros. So this is a game where it'd be Houston or nothing for me, but I'm not going to lay $1.55.
Yeah, I hear that. A lot of guys on the under, but our guy Eric Swiatek liking the over. Torino says, yeah, Milo looks good this year. Pitching coaches have done a nice job on him. Von Polo is on the under. CT Bays is on the under. Top Set, Armand Elio is on the under. Wow, very interesting. A lot of people liking the under. Von Polo liking first 5 under, full game under. Swiatek saying values on the over in this one. Top Set saying another travel under. And I've had the same difficulties figuring out Mike Minor as you've spoken of. And then the final game on the card is this Musgrove Waka spot. Pirates, Cardinals. Again, dealing with Musgrove, who looked like an ace until his last start. St. Louis opens at minus 132. 7-cent move towards them. This total opens at 8. It's now at 8.5. The Cardinals were just steamrolled in 2 games by the Phillies. Outscored 16-1. And, you know, Musgrove, 7 runs, 5 of them earned in 2 2/3 Friday in Pittsburgh. So this is a trickier spot than it looks. And Waka's been a fade all year. But now he's at home, and the Pirates bats look like they're figuring their shit out, especially after the mammoth home run that Bell hit yesterday. Do you have a lean here, Pirates-Cardinals?
Yeah, by the way, Chase Field is open tonight, the roof, and all 4 games against Atlanta scheduled to have the roof open. So that is the roof status. Doesn't bother me. I still like the under with that one, Soroka and Weaver. Pittsburgh-St. Louis. Look, I'm not ready to throw Joe Musgrove in the scrap heap just because he had 1 bad start. We're allowed to have 1 bad start. I'm allowed to have 1 bad day handicapping, aren't I? And pitchers should be allowed to have 1 bad start, bad day or bad game in terms of a start. And we got that, unfortunately, from Joe Musgrove last time out against Oakland. It was as bad as it could possibly be. It was as rough as it could be. 7 runs, 2.2 innings, 2 walks. He was just roughed up, just had nothing in the tank that day. Let's not forget, prior to that, Joe Musgrove had been pitching pretty damn good baseball for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And, you know, I think he's got it in him to bounce back. Maybe if he has another rough outing, then you get concerned. But until I see back-to-back weak starts from him, I'm not going to jump off Musgrove's train. I've been on Musgrove backing him several times when he's been on the mound. I'll probably do that again today. I mean, Michael Wacha doesn't impress me. He's gave up 5 runs on 6 hits in 5 innings last time out against Chicago over the weekend. I cashed an over ticket in that game. Waka's on the fade list for me. Musgrove's on the still, even after the bad start. He's still on the bet on list for me. On the road, he's got a 1.23 ERA. He's only given up 3 earned runs in 22 road innings pitched this season. Waka's given up 8 runs in 9.1 innings at home at Busch Stadium. So you talked about Waka being at home. He should be comfortable. Not this season. He's been 7.71 ERA, 8 runs in 9.1 innings at home for Waka. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this bet up in half, in two pieces. I'm going to go half and half on Pittsburgh first 5 innings, half on Pittsburgh full game. I have to, because this Pittsburgh bullpen, it can blow up at any minute. We saw it yesterday against Texas. They blew the game. They lost 9-6. That bullpen is still not fixed the struggles and the problems they've had for most of the season. So that concerns me. I want a little insurance here with Pittsburgh, so I'm going to go half of my bet on first 5 Pittsburgh, half of it on the full game.
Interesting. Yeah, now that Keelan Kayla also on the 10-day injured list with right shoulder inflammation, that was something we thought was a real strength of the Pirates. That turns out they're in trouble in their bullpen. I think that the over is an interesting look now that we break this down further and knowing that the problems that the Pittsburgh bullpen has. So even if Musgrove gets off to a nice start, you know that St. Louis can get to the bullpen. We think that Pittsburgh can get to St. Louis to get to Waka. This over then seems very appealing to me at 8.5. And in fact, let's just take a quick look at what the weather is there. We have 64 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 11 miles per hour wind sideways, but sort of out to right field. I am going to take this over right now. I'm going to take this over. While I'm line shopping for the over, Babano, everyone wants to know what you think of the Bruins, Carolina. And I know we got to go, so we got to keep this kind of tight. But what do you think? What's your guess on the Stanley Cup final? And what do you think about Game 1 and the series in Boston, Carolina?
I think we're going back to the year 1970 when Bobby Orr had that great goal flying through the air, the Boston Bruins to beat the St. Louis Blues in the Stanley Cup final. I think that's where we're going with this year's Stanley Cup final. Boston, St. Louis. Let's turn the clock back to 1970 here. The thing with Boston, Carolina is my heart and my gut say Carolina because these Cinderella stories sometimes can make it to a cup final. Look at Vegas last year as proof of that. But my head says Boston. I mean, to me, this is going to be a totally different level of physicality and putting a team through the torture chamber than anything Carolina saw against Washington or the Islanders. Like, Boston is going to play hard, heavy, physical, in-your-face hockey. I thought Washington played a little bit of a meek, timid series. And even the Islanders, once they lost the first 2 games, they just tucked the tail between their legs and went home. That's not going to be the case here in this series. Obviously, Charlie McAvoy being out for Game 1 hurts Boston here in Game 1, but we can't forget the layoff factor for Carolina. And the layoff factor has been a very real detrimental thing for teams here in the NHL playoffs. Columbus had the layoff 10 days after they swept Tampa going into the Boston series. Lo and behold, they lose Game 1, and they didn't play well at all in that game. Even though it went to overtime, they were fortunate it did go to overtime. The New York Islanders swept Pittsburgh in the first round. They had a 1-week layoff going into Carolina. What happened? They lose Game 1. So the layoff is a real thing. These teams that have had the extended time off, it's been more rust than rest based on the results that we have seen so far here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I like Boston in the series, and I would lean Boston in Game 1. Although I'd probably go on a regulation line bet or a -1 bet rather than the money line price. And I actually like over 5.5 at +125 tonight in Game 1. And here's why. Charlie McAvoy being out hurts defensively a lot. I know he has got offensive skill set and skating ability. He protects Chara. He plays with Chara. He makes sure he covers up for Chara's mistakes. That guy's not out there anymore going into this game tonight. So Chara's kind of like exposed a little bit out on an island. I think he's prone to make more mistakes. You know, Rask's faced a heavy workload for as incredible as he's been. You know, he's faced a ton of shots the last few games of that Columbus series. The Boston top line is going. Their best players are rolling offensively. And on the flip side, you got Peter Mrazek, who last I heard is going to be likely back for Game 1 tonight and starting in net, returning from that injury. He's been off for a long time. I don't trust Mrazek to be sharp right off the hop when he's been off for such a long period of time against this Boston team that has gotten it together offensively. Their power play's gotten it together as well. So you're talking about +125 on over 5.5. That's a damn good price. I'm not going to pass it up.
I love that price too. It's been staring at me all day, and I know 5s are going to be on the board shortly. Great stuff. Absolutely great stuff, Babano. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll go over my plays. We got Born in 94. Oh, wow. But we're always here for you. Born in 94. We love you very, very much. Got Born in 94 joining us late. I'm going to go over Jorge's question about the -1 line and go over my plays quickly. But first off, Babano, thank you so much for joining us. What a treat it is to have you on these Thursdays. Where can we find you on Twitter? What shows you got coming up?
Yeah, one last point about that Carolina-Boston over that I like. Carolina 7-4 to the over in the playoffs in their 11 games. So this is a team that is been trending to some higher scoring games, and especially at the end of the Islanders series, the Washington series. So yeah, over 5.5. That would be my strongest play on that game. Over 5.5 plus 125. I'll probably have a smaller bet as well, like I said, on Boston, probably in regulation, which you can get at about plus 110. I know no McAvoy, but Carolina layoff is a bigger concern for me going into game one tonight. But yeah, Jimmy, good stuff. Great to be with you again. Yeah, Twitter at Bobano, and you can catch me Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern with Drew Martin. And on the NBA playoff show. Hopefully Ski Prof. I have not heard what's going on with Ski Prophet. I hope he's back soon. I know he's been dealing with some personal matters. We certainly wish him well. But yeah, Saturday I'll be there with the NBA playoff show regardless, so check that out. Beautiful,
beautiful stuff. Thank you so much for joining us, Babano. All right, we got to get out of here. I'm on Bruins to win the cup at plus 190. That's just a hedge for I'm hoping it's a hedge for my Sharks action. $3,600 awaits. And all I need is that first 1,100 for the conference, and then I can really put myself in a very comfortable situation where I can't lose. So we'll see. But for the show and unit-wise, I'm taking Bruins to win the cup at plus 190. I'll figure out how I'm going to bet it this afternoon. And then this basketball situation, we didn't get a chance to touch on with Babano. Very dangerous beating a team by this many points, and everybody liking the Raptors and the Nuggets. And I get it. And I'm just very hesitant to pull the trigger. The Embiid under 35.5 points, rebound assist, just seems like such low-hanging fruit, but it just doesn't work like that in the association, so I'm very hesitant to make a move.
Yeah, very quickly on those two games, I would only play Toronto and Denver, but especially in the Toronto game, I'm going to give Philly the respect, that they're a home underdog in a backs against the wall situation. I'm going to give them enough respect to not bet against them in this spot, for them to give me a chance to show me what they're made of tonight, what Embiid is made of, what this whole Sixers team is made of based on the just debacle of a performance the other night. So I still think Toronto's got a decent chance to finish it off tonight. Same with Denver in the West. And I think it's a matter of just when, not if, those two teams win those series. But Philly +2, backs against the wall. I'm not sure that's the value to jump in there and bet Toronto tonight. So it's a pass for me.
Yeah, it's a pass for me at this point. We've had Melvin come in to ask for your baseball pick. So do you mind recapping quickly your baseball action?
Okay, baseball action. Let's go. We have Cincinnati, Oakland over 8.5. We have Colorado -145. We have Pittsburgh first 5 and full game. That's a split bet in that one. We have Arizona, Atlanta under 8.5. And we have Seattle Yankees over. I got over 9. It's 9.5 now. I still like it at 9.5. Seattle Yankees over. So those are my baseball plays.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff. I'm on White Sox Indians over 9 at -105. I'm on the Rockies -1, and we'll talk about that quickly for Jorge. Moneyline -144, -1.5 plus 135. And then the only other play I have at this point is the Pirates Cardinals over 8.5 -102 at 5 times. And we're Jorge talking about building the -1 lines. For the show, Pistol Pete taught me how to build them with the spreadsheet at -1 for the unit size, and that's just punching it into a spreadsheet. You have to, if you want to do it properly, you have to adjust the unit on both the run line and money line, to equal a unit. If you want to do it just very simply, very simple, and what I've been doing, just simply put, with my books, I just bet half on the money line, half on the -1.5. That's not the perfect way of doing it. Well, we can get in more. I've gone way, way over time. Maybe we can keep talking about this and give you the exact formula to do it perfectly. But that's what's up. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you to our guest, my man Ian Cameron at Babano. We got to get out of here. We've gone late. Much love to you guys. Leche, Halos Bookmakers!